The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to a special Eagles edition of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, and I am wearing the same thing that I was wearing in the Phillies episode. Weird. Mike Ezelina, and I'm joined by a guy who's also wearing the same thing that he was wearing in the Phillies episode. Regz, it's like we don't sleep, man.
The magic of podcasting.
The magic of podcasting. Well, we spent some time talking about the baseball team, and now we are here to talk about the football team, who we thought was going to at least lift us a little bit from the ashes of the baseball season, but decided, we're good. You guys, we're good over here.
Yeah, what a doozy those few days were, huh?
How about it? You go from Saturday, where the Phillies lose game 1, to Sunday, where the Eagles blow a 14-point lead late to the Broncos, to Monday, and the Phillies lose in heartbreaking fashion at home, to Wednesday, where we thought maybe they were turning it around, and then Thursday, within 3 hours of each other, the heartbreaking Phillies loss to the shocking Eagles loss to the New York Football Giants, Jackson Dart and Cam Scattaboo. Look, man, I don't really know where to start with all this. I think let's do this. Let's just kind of blow by blow it, and then we'll talk specifically to the different parts of the team and just where we're at right now. We both said before you hit record, neither of us are all that worried. This is a team who hadn't lost a single game in the calendar year, dating back to the loss in December to the Commanders. And they've lost 2 in a row. And now all of a sudden, the sky is just falling. So, look, let's start with Denver. Everything was great in the first half. Great. 17-3, everything's good. The offense is churning. We're getting the ball everywhere. We're throwing it all over the yard. Jalen ends up with 38 passing attempts, the most he's had in like 2 years. Second half was a totally different story. Couldn't move the ball at all.
Didn't complete a pass.
Didn't complete a pass, as a matter of fact. 0 for 8. I think the scarier part was they couldn't get stops when they needed to. Bo Nix was kind of all over them. A couple of scores late. I also think it's important to mention that there were some very questionable calls by the officials down the stretch, but again, not the reason, just a factor. So they lose that game, and I think we're all kind of like, all right, well, you said it. They had to lose at some point.
Yeah, right.
And my response was, I'm not even mad at them. It's the officiating that had me up in arms after that one.
Yeah. We didn't talk about this, so, don't worry about this if you want to take this a certain way, but I almost see these 2 games, and I think it might serve us better to maybe talk some slightly big picture trends. Like, we could go blow by blow in both these games. Like, look, they didn't play good, like in either of them. They played okay for a half of football in the Denver game. The second half was terrible. And I don't think they played very well in either of the halves against the Giants. So you could essentially say their last 3 quarters of football, have been terrible. So what everyone is getting mad at, of course, is that whenever you lose, in Philadelphia, the sky is falling. We both don't think that's true, but I think there are some things we could talk about that have to do with both games, and it might serve better to go through those things. And I can start, since I just sprung this on you because I just thought of it. I'm going to start with, because I want you to do the other one. I'm going to start with the defense. I think you're seeing what happens when you have a pass rush that isn't good, but you don't have Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Slay playing to the peak of their powers, like as a secondary and as corners. Like whoever they seem to put at CB2 is not very good. Just they're not very good. They're not complete disasters. They are on some plays, but they're just not very good. And you have a rookie safety who is making some mistakes, and just the baseline is they just do not pressure the quarterback. And when they need to, it's sending extra guys, and their secondary at this juncture cannot hold up. I am going to believe that Vic Fangio's defenses can get better and better as you're going on, but we're clearly seeing that Quinyon and Cooper are massive outliers in how they came in and played as rookies. Like those two dudes. And again, Quinyon didn't have his best game against the Giants. He was great against the Broncos. Cooper's been arguably the best player on the entire defense. So those two guys are continuing to play well. But you're seeing Makuba, and you're seeing I don't even know if I've heard Jahad Campbell's name spoken about the last two games, so I don't know how he played. I didn't watch the tape or anything like that. But I'm going to continue to believe that this defense will get better and better, but there's going to be there's going to be some speed bumps, man. There's going to be some speed bumps. The regression was going to happen, and I think, some of it is injury related. Obviously, Nolan Smith being hurt is a huge bummer. Losing Slay and not having a solid sort of backup for him, and hoping that one of these sort of, throws at the dartboard would work, isn't working out yet. That Isaiah Rodgers contract is looking kind of tough for not picking that bad up, but that's a different conversation. So that's where I would take it first in sort of trying to get at the larger trends for these two games.
Yeah, no, good idea, first and foremost. I think secondly, let me talk to the Quinyon thing. Quinyon, Cortland Sutton gotten pretty good late in that game. I mean, he had good coverage, but he wasn't able to
fair
make anything happen.
Sure.
And the Giants game, he just got hurt. Like he wasn't even on the field.
That's true. That's a fair point. Yep.
So, Jackson Dart, even though he was throwing to no one, was throwing to no one covered by no one. And so, it's
nicely
in that situation, it's advantage quarterback.
Yes.
Keely Ringo's clueless. He's absolutely clueless. There was a play where his receiver caught the ball and he stood there and stared at him and didn't touch him when he was down on the ground, because he thought he was still playing college football. The corner thing is a real issue. And I think honestly, Reg, some of that issue is tied to they don't get pressure, and without pressure, it becomes a little more difficult to cover.
Yes.
So, that was very evident. To me right now, the part that's really tough for me to watch. Yeah. And they didn't have Jalen Carter in that Giants game. They could not stop the run to save their life.
It's a great point.
In either of these games, like not being able to stop the run, like that is something that they did really well last year.
Not initially, though.
No, it did start. And look, here's the thing. I also, this was something I thought about as you were talking. They were not a good defense still in week 6 last year.
Yeah.
They were not. They were just not a good defense in week 6 last year. So, there's that part of this whole thing. And they do have 2 weeks here. We said when we went through their schedule, before the stretch started, that we'd be fine if they got to the bye at 6-2. They got to win the next 2 to get to 6-2. And certainly that's not easy, but you mentioned Nolan Smith. From what I've heard, the reason that Jalen Carter did not play was because they were worried about the turf. His heel was bothering him and they thought it would make it worse. So they decided not to play him. I think the hamstring thing with Quignon had something to do with this turf at MetLife. The defense to me is not as big of an issue because I think when you have someone like Vic Fangio, he's going to figure it out. He's going to find a way, and things will end up being okay. We knew, like you said, there was going to be a regression to the mean.
And if you don't have your arguably two best players, that's going to make a difference.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't care. Again, I don't care who you're playing against.
Yeah.
If you don't have those two guys, it's going to cause an issue. Hopefully they can both play in 2 weeks and Giant fans will be reminded of who their daddy is and onward we'll go. Here, I know we'll talk about the offense here in a moment, but I actually want to talk about something else that is really bothering me with this team. Why can't we return a kickoff? Why can we not?
I'm going to admit here that I haven't been able to watch the last 2 games. They weren't on
Well,
TV.
you would be furious.
I haven't been able, I've just been following through Twitter, but everything I see is like, oh, another kickoff was fumbled or muffed or something. And I'm like, and then people are like, we traded 2 draft picks for this Tank Bigsby, who's supposed to be this return guy. And like, I'd take Britton Covey at this point. Can we bring him back?
Riggs, he wasn't even returning kicks at the end of the Giants game. They brought out AJ Dillon and he fumbled.
Yeah.
And he fumbled.
That's what I mean. Didn't we get Britton Covey back? Isn't he on our practice squad?
Yeah, but I think he's more punt return, which I would still use him because John Dodson just fair catches everything inside the freaking 10-yard line.
Right. Like why?
I don't understand. I don't understand what is happening right now.
So are they? But like, so let me ask this, because again, as not watching it, so I don't have any other context besides tweets. Are they missing it while the ball's in the air? Are they letting it bounce first? Are we like, what is the context here?
There's confusion at times.
Okay. About who's going to do it. Okay.
Yeah. There's moments where, like, there was one on Thursday where they caught it in the end zone, which means they could down it in the end zone. It wasn't bounced in. It literally sailed into the end zone, and they both hesitated and then came out and got tackled at like the 13.
Wouldn't that give you like the 25 or something at least if you down it in the end zone?
No, if they kick it into the end zone, I think you get it at the 35.
Oh, well, yeah, should have done that.
Because like they're supposed to kick it in that
the zone, right? In the zone.
It's like a penalty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So and then there were a couple where they just bobbled it, dropped it. I don't know, Regz, what it is, but the starting field position thing, they have the worst starting field position in the NFL with an already scuffling offense. Like it's a whole thing. So I wanted to mention that from the offensive side, and then I'll turn it over to you for some other offense.
I wanted you to talk about the offense. So
one of the biggest concerns that I have right now is the offensive line. It's not getting talked about nearly enough. Like there's, we don't scheme well, and we don't do this well, and we don't do that. They're not blocking worth shit.
Yeah.
Not worth shit. And I know that Landon's hurt, and I know Juergens is still recovering from back surgery, but Jordan's getting beat badly.
Yeah.
And, I know people want to rip on Tyler Steen, but I think Steen, like, for what he is, has been okay. He is what he is. And Lane's been Lane.
Yeah.
I don't know if Landon's going to be able to play next week.
Yeah.
He's not on the IR, which makes me think he probably will play. He'll have, essentially 2 weeks off because he didn't play on Thursday. But man, that's a huge issue right now.
Yeah. Did you read EJ Smith's article about this? He dove into
about the offensive line.
He dove into what does a 2,000-yard season do to an offensive line? And Jordan had a quote in it that said, usually like after the season's over, you take, a week or two, to just let your body chill and recover.
Yeah.
And all those things. Jordan's like, it took me 2.5 months to feel like I usually would after a season. And
interesting.
He dove into the toll that a season like that can take on these guys.
Sure.
And I think it's an extremely relevant point at this time
Yeah.
that your all pros are not playing like that. They're not playing like
Yeah.
it. And again, it's a
Mm-hmm.
combination of injuries, of things we don't know about, maybe just a general fatigue from what last season was. How many times do we talk about, especially in like the NBA, how many extra games have these guys played? How many,
Yeah.
and especially in football, right? Where everyone says, oh, it's like being in a car accident, you know? But yes, they reached the top of the mountain. And that was 2 years in a row. They made it to the absolute last game of the season.
2 out of 3 years. 2 out of 3 years. They did not make it.
Sorry,
in
you're right.
23.
You're right. So 2 out of the last 3 years, they've made it as far as you possibly can go. Maybe no team has
Right.
played more games than them, than the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, which is an excellent one, we are seeing it kind of get to them.
Mm-hmm.
And this might just be a purely physical thing, because we all know Stout, right? And we can't knock his ability to do his job. There's too many, like, he's proven himself
Right.
time and time again. They just might be worn out. And
Yeah.
there aren't, and you can keep going after this, but like, there's one team that's done this in our era. Like Tom and the Patriots, obviously, when they were going, but like in this recent sort of Eagles era, the only team to keep getting back and back and back to the Super Bowl is the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's really effing hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard. And they've been there 2 out of the last 3 years. To go to the Super Bowl 3 out of 4 years is literally almost unheard of, unless you're Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Right.
So
Right.
it's an excellent point, and I
57
think
games.
and I think it's not. I just think I brought up EJ's article, but it's the first time I've seen that used as a point to help maybe explain
Sure.
what is happening, and I thought it was a good perspective.
It is. 57 games in 3 years is nothing to sneeze at all. So, that's a really good point. I'm glad you mentioned it. But again, it is a detriment to what's happening to this
absolutely,
team right now.
absolutely.
Because, they can't run the football at all.
Yep.
At all.
Yep.
And Brian Burns. I mean, the Giants were in Jalen's lap a lot. They were in his lap a lot, and Denver was in his lap a lot. He got sacked 6 times against Denver. I think he was sacked 5 more times against the Giants. So it's and it wasn't for holding the football. I mean, he wasn't great in either of these games, which is part of the reason they lost these games. And so when I look around then at the remainder of the offense, I mean, they have 2 plays in these last 2 games that they missed that they don't usually miss. The AJ Brown ball deep, the Devontae Smith ball deep.
Yeah.
AJ slowed down on his. Devontae ran his route clear through. Jalen just overthrew him, which is very rare for Jalen. To overthrow, misfire. And Devontae had about 10 yards on the closest defender. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
He was going to walk in, and it's a game-changing moment because
sure.
you're probably going up 10 or 11.
That was on 3rd down too, right?
It might have been.
I think it was.
I think for me, Regz, and then the interception late, Jalen made the right read. It was a 0 blitz. A lot of people said, well, look how open AJ is, but that ball, AJ's not even, I don't even know if AJ's a second read on that play. He threw it out to the sideline to where Jahan is. Jahan did him no favors by coming back to it either. It was behind him. It wasn't a good throw, but it's just right now, everything's so disjointed, Regs. I don't know how else to describe it other than disjointed.
Yeah.
They like, the run doesn't build off the pass. The pass doesn't build off the run. Every possession feels different. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no element of surprise. It's all just predictable. And Lane said it after the Thursday night game. And, I've seen from a lot of people, Zach Berman, EJ Smith, a lot of other writers and media personalities, that when Lane speaks, people listen. At this point, Lane spoke very loudly. Now, are they going to fire Kevin Patullo? Absolutely not. They're not going to do it. They learned from what they did when the whole thing happened with Brian Johnson, when everything happened with Sean Desai, like that. They're not firing him. Might they bring in some support, some consultants? Sure, they absolutely might. The concern right now is just the lack of creativity. It's the lack of surprise. And it's the same conversation. Is this a Jalen thing? Is it an offensive coordinator thing? Is it the head coach? Is it a combination of all three? I don't know the answer. I do think in some way it's a combination of all three. I think,
agree.
Nick wants something a certain way. Jalen wants something. Jalen has told us he wants things a certain way. But we've also seen Jalen be successful when things get more creative. Saquon said that the wheel route against Denver wasn't even in the playbook. Jalen just told him to run it in the huddle, and they did, and it was a touchdown.
Shocking that a wheel route wouldn't be in the playbook, but we can go there at a different point.
Yeah, God. So look, man, I am they are still 4-2. They're like the third best team in the NFC. The Cowboys lost to the Panthers today. The Commanders could very well win tomorrow and be tied for first in the division. There's still 11 weeks of football left to be played. The Eagles, up until the Giants, had played the toughest schedule in the NFL. I do think some of the Giants game, because they looked disinterested, man.
Yeah.
They did not look physical. They did not look tough. But some of that, Regs, to me, is you just played a team that is very physical on Sunday and had to, even though it's not a long trip, you had to travel for a Thursday night game. And these guys don't like playing Thursday night games. I think a lot of times we're like, oh, well, they want to get back out there and make right on what happened. And this is a way to do it. No, their bodies aren't ready by Thursday.
Yeah.
These guys don't want to be out there, especially a road game. They don't want to be out there sleeping in a hotel and all that nonsense. I think the 10-day bye comes at a good time. Obviously going on the road to play Minnesota is not ideal. Hopefully that it's Carson Wentz will make it a little bit better. More hopeful that Q can play, because if it's the other two out there,
good Lord.
If you have Justin Jefferson in your fantasy leagues,
take the over on everything Justin Jefferson related.
Have so much fun winning your week next week.
Yeah.
But I think my overall thoughts on the offense are pretty simple. There's just not a lot of, everything's predictable. There's just no drive to drive building on things. I don't know if the fracture between AJ and Jalen has any impact on all of this. I don't even know how much that has an impact on anything. To me, it does. There's something going on, and it's impacting the team in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think, I think it's like, if you had me list my concerns and level of concern, like problem based on that, I don't know. That's like 4th, 5th to me. Like right now it's the lack of creativity, the lack of ability to run the football. Special teams is a major one for me right now. Kickoff return especially. And then I think, you got like the injuries on defense with Smith and Carter and Quinyon. Like, those are a concern for me. And then I think it's the AJ and Jalen thing, because the AJ Jalen thing existed last year.
Right.
And they won the freaking Super Bowl.
Right.
So like whatever personal issues they had, they were able to put it aside to win. It does feel like it's spilling over a little bit more right now, but it's because they're not winning.
Right.
They've lost their last 2, so obviously it's a little louder than it typically is. So look, the trade deadline is in about 3 weeks. 3 weeks tomorrow, 13th, 20th, 27th, 4 weeks tomorrow. Sorry. November 4th. It's Tuesday. So 4 weeks on Tuesday. At one point I was like, oh, they'll add an edge. And then another point I was like, oh, they'll add a corner. I do think that they'd probably prefer edge over corner. I think that they feel good about Adoree as a number 2.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel okay about Adoree as a number 2. I think they were trying to give Ringo a shot, but he's not earned it. So it wouldn't shock me if on Sunday afternoon that it's Adoree, but I guess we'll wait and see what practice looks like this week. I don't know, man. I guess I'm not overly concerned. I think they're still a playoff team. I think that, they definitely still have some games out in front of them here that are not going to be fun nor easy. As I look at, their upcoming schedule, if they can just get into the bye at 6-2, I think we're all feeling pretty good about that. Coming out of their bye, it's Green Bay, the Lions, the Cowboys, and the Bears. Like that's a rough 4-week stretch on the road in Green Bay and on the road in Dallas where you're not very good. And then it's the Chargers on the road, the Raiders at home, the Commanders on the road, the Bills on the road. So this is the most ridiculous schedule. I can't get over this schedule, and losing one of those Giants games is just
it's tough. It's tough.
It's just so tough to have to recognize. Real quickly, anything else that you want to add here before we go?
I just think with the offense, like you said, the play calling and the rhythm of games is really off. And that's got to be figured out. I think the offense boils down to me. I think you made a great point with the offensive line and the run game, and not having that is a huge deal. Because what did I say earlier? There's been one other team that's been to all these Super Bowls in the last little few years, right? Mm-hmm. And that team is quarterbacked by possibly the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. Next to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
We love Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not that guy. He's played fantastic when he's had to in big games. He is my Super Bowl winning quarterback. I am taking nothing away from him. And you and I have never been guys who are going to bash Jalen and all this stuff, right? We're not. We've supported him throughout all these things. What he has been able to do to focus and play well in the biggest moments is unbelievable. And he will be forever treasured in this city because of what he's done. He's not Patrick Mahomes. There's a reason he's ranked 8, 9, 10 out of quarterbacks. He has flaws. And for a guy like that to continuously lead his team to multiple Super Bowls is nothing short of unbelievable, quite honestly.
Right.
But we're not talking about Patrick Mahomes. We're not talking about that. And I just think that, are we seeing that a little bit more right now? Yes. I think we're always going to see it with a guy like Jalen. He's not a perfect quarterback. We would love to have a guy sometimes who's more willing to just sling it in these small windows and try and make these crazy throws. Like we talked about earlier, I told you that there's going to be a WIP call that comes through in the next 12 hours that says, this team would win every game and more with Baker Mayfield as their quarterback, right? That's going to happen. It's going to happen. That might be true. Who knows? I don't know. They'd probably still be pretty good with Baker Mayfield as their quarterback, be quite honest.
Yeah.
But Jalen Hurts is a flawed quarterback. He is a guy who is going to turn down and not take risky throws. He's got tremendous talents, his ability to scramble still, his deep ball accuracy. his accuracy in general are 3 huge pluses for Jalen.
Yeah.
But what this team at this point, like what we're talking about right now, the 4-2 Eagles, they need a guy who's just going to kind of let it rip and give them some chances. Might that lead to some more turnovers? Yes, it might. It might. And again, I just think that I don't let me preface this by saying I don't think the offensive scheme right now is very good either.
And that's what I was just going to say to your point about letting it rip. Like, I don't, to who?
Again, I thought about it as soon as I said it. So fair point. There is a flaw in the offensive scheme. And this goes back to, I think we talked about a few episodes ago, the fact that Jeffrey Lurie just hasn't thrown a bag of money at one of these innovative offensive coordinators. That,
like McDaniel's going to be fired tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
there's a good chance. There's a chance. And again,
I mean, Tua threw him right under the bus tonight. So
I think at this point it'd be worth it to just have some guy who's been there, done that, and has a creative mind and all those things. So I think we're seeing a team that we have to give the benefit of the doubt to.
Yeah.
There are flaws. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. The schedule, like you said, is a gauntlet from top to bottom.
Yeah.
And the fact that Jalen Hurts, as the quarterback he is, has gotten us to the mountaintop twice and won it for us, cannot be overlooked. But he is not Patrick Mahomes. He is not Josh Allen. Like, he is not those guys. So there are going to be times where his flaws are very obvious. And I think we're just in that stretch. They have proven the ability to come out the other side. Will that happen? Who knows? This might just be that season. It's really hard to keep getting back to the Super Bowl. As we discussed, only one guy has done it in the past few years. So I think that's just where we're at. And we just have to give him the time to try and figure it out. While acknowledging it's not great.
Look, I think when you look at it from the end of from the beginning of the year, getting into the bye, you had them at 5-3 and I had them at 6-2.
Yeah.
Both of those things are very, very possible still. It hasn't looked good. But again, I'll repeat what I've said to many people. At this point last year, they were 3-2. They had just barely beaten the Browns. You know, we were all ready to fire Sirianni.
Yeah.
And then they went on this like unbelievable run. And so who's to say that doesn't happen?
Yeah.
You know, the schedule is tough, but if you get into the bye at 6-2, you're barring like the ginormous meltdown of meltdowns like you had in 23, you're sitting okay.
Yeah, completely agree.
You're sitting okay. All right, real quickly, our point game. You currently lead through 6 weeks, 30-22.
All right.
I won the first 3 games. You lost week 2. You picked Kansas City. But interestingly, we were tied because I had not as many points on the first game or the third game. And then I lost the last 3. You've lost the last 2 out of 3, but while we both picked Tampa to lose, that was your mulligan game.
That's right.
So you grabbed 11 points on your mulligan game. So you are currently, my math is wrong. You're actually up 11. Is that right? 22? Yeah, you're up 11 right now. Now, this weekend, I will have 8 points no matter what. They win. We both have a loss. If they lose, I gain 1 point on you. If they win, I grab 8 points back, and this is a game.
Because this was your mulligan, right? Was this your?
The Minnesota game is my mulligan.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
The Minnesota game is my mulligan. So, and then we both have our 17-point game the following week against the Giants.
Looking a little tougher after this last one.
We watched our 14, 15-point games
God.
on Thursday night. So, but we'll keep a close eye on that as we go forward. We're gonna record on Thursday. We're gonna do a preview of this Minnesota game. We might even talk Sixers, folks. We might even talk Sixers.
Look at us.
Because it's coming, and we'll figure out something. Phillies. I don't know what yet. Maybe there'll be a Dombrowski interview that we can react to and go from there. But all right, man. Well, that was fun. Thank you for another good conversation.
A pleasure as always, my friend. Pleasure as always.
All right. If you haven't already done so, subscribe right below here on the YouTube channel. Wherever you get your podcast, subscribe, rate, follow, do the whole thing. Head on to social media at the Mic Drop 5 on Twitter, at Big Regz with a Z. The Phixated fan page on Facebook, at the Phixated Podcast on Instagram, at the Phixated Pod on TikTok. Merchandise link in the show description below. We will be back Friday, with another episode previewing the Vikings game. Until then, I hope they're figuring it out this week. I hope you guys are figuring it out. All right, birds? I don't need this nonsense. Everybody's flawed, but be better.
Come on, boys. Get it together.
Oh, my God. Deep to right field. Way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.